Okay, so I want you to take a look at this clip of what New York City was like back in the 70s and 80s, particularly in the Times Square, 42nd Street area.
The 1980s, 42nd Street wasn't the neon wonderland we know today. It was chaos. Drugs, gang activity, and desperation pulsed through the heart of Times Square. Tourists were warned not to go. Locals avoided it altogether. Rolling Stone called it the sleaziest block in America, and they weren't exaggerating. But behind the grime and broken windows, a quiet war was brewing, a fight to save the soul of New York City. And what followed was one of the most radical urban transformations in modern history.
Okay, so that's what New York City looked like about 40 to 50 years ago, basically present day San Francisco. Not saying that New York City is much better, but compared to the past, sure, much better. But that video depicted that under the previous Democratic leadership that ruined the city, Times Square was a hellhole. It was a shit show. Like, you had just crime, drugs, prostitution everywhere. Tourists were forbidden, pretty much. You didn't see any teenagers hanging around the area like you do today. Now it's a lot more livelier. The area is packed with tourists flocking, teenagers everywhere. But back then, it was just all sex shops, just, strip clubs, just a lot of, seedy, shady businesses. But you know what? After Zohran Mamdani's, primary Democratic primary win over Andrew Cuomo, the only thing standing in his way of becoming next mayor of New York City is the incumbent mayor, Eric Adams. But considering that the Democrats have a 6-1 stronghold over New York City, I think it's a pretty safe bet that Mamdani is going to become the next mayor of New York, which means the city's going to be pretty fucked.
We have won because New Yorkers have stood up for a city they can afford. A city where they can do more than just struggle. And it's where the mayor will use their power to reject Donald Trump's fascism, to stop mass ICE agents from deporting our neighbors, and to govern our city as a model for the Democratic Party.
He wants to freeze the rent. He wants city-run grocery stores, social workers to replace the police because that's going to help. He wants $60 billion of debt fund for affordable housing. He wants free buses, no cost for childcare, baby baskets for newborn, and a $30 minimum wage. How can someone vote for this?
He's a snake oil salesman. He will say and do anything to get elected. Think about this for a moment. He wants to raise 1%. He wants to raise tax on 1% of New Yorkers' high-income earners. As the mayor, you don't have the authority to do that. You know who has the authority to do that? An assemblyman, which he is. He wants to do free buses. He could have done it at assemblyman.
Okay, so I'm going to pause it here for a second. So I want to just go through a list of some of the stuff Mamdani has promised voters. Okay, free bus service, free childcare, rent freeze on regulated units, city-owned grocery stores, 200,000 affordable housing units, raise the minimum wage to $30 by 2030, tax increases on the rich and corporations, stop ICE deportations, Department of Community Safety, increase funding for anti-hate crime programs. Also in 2020, he talked about, defunding the police and stuff like that. But, so how does he think all this stuff will get funded? By increasing the taxes of the rich and the corporations. Do you think they're just going to stay here in the city of New York? No, they're going to leave. Like after COVID, I think $1 trillion of asset under management between California and New York left the two states and pretty much all went to Florida and Texas. Think about that. All that money. A lot of people moved out from those two states, those liberal states, California and New York, and they all went to Texas and Florida. Because why? Better laws, less regulation. So you're going to kill your tax base. Then how are you going to fund all these programs? You know what? At the end of the day, all you have to do is look at other countries that have done similar stuff to this, like the Soviet Union, Cuba, Venezuela. See how they turned out. Where are they now? Like, this guy is literally insane with his ideas, socialist policies. Anyways, here's an old tweet that he talked about. We don't need an investigation to know that the NYPD is racist, anti-queer, and a major threat to public safety. This is the guy that New Yorkers want to elect and represent their city. Anyways, back to that Fox clip.
He doesn't understand the power of government and how you must making sure you improve your economy, raise the standard of living. And this is what we've done in the city. And I'm looking forward to being on the campaign trail and showing New Yorkers we can't go backwards. And New Yorkers never surrender or quit. I'm never going to quit for the city that I love.
That is so interesting. You're in the position, so you know you don't have the authority to do that. Yet he's running on all these promises he's not going to be able to fulfill. And New Yorkers are buying it. Now, Cuomo did say he hasn't ruled out whether or not he's going to run as an independent, which means he would be on your ticket. He would run against you. How would that affect your race in the field?
I've said this over and over again. People know me by saying three things: stay focused, no distractions, and grind. That's what everyday New Yorkers do. I'm a working class man. I'm probably the first working class union card carrying man in the history of this city. Andrew at this time should realize that the time has moved on. He just did not bring the energy of wanting to be mayor. And New Yorkers, they have this smell test. They know, do you want the job?
Okay, so now I'm going to show you a clip of Zohran Mamdani confronting border czar Tom Homan. Now, mind you, Zohran Mamdani was born in Uganda and just became a U.S. citizen in 2018. Have a look here. This is despicable. Okay, now I'm going to show you Tom Homan's response to Zohran Mamdani and his threats.
Candidate, he hasn't won yet, but he won the Democratic primary, Zohran Mamdani. So he's saying, this is incredible. He's vowed to kick the, quote, fascist ICE out of New York City, okay? So how do you intend to deal with that? Because I would guess there are going to be a lot of criminals and Iranian cells and whatnot in New York City. The job's not done there. What do you say to this guy?
Good luck with that. Federal law trumps him every day, every hour, every minute. We're going to be in New York City. Matter of fact, because it's a sanctuary city, President Trump made it clear a week and a half ago. We're going to double down and triple down on sanctuary cities. If we can't arrest a bad guy in the county jail, one agent arresting one bad guy, they release him in the streets like New York does every day. We got to send a whole team to look for this guy. And not only that, we're going to send additional teams to look for all the people they arrest. We're going to concentrate in sanctuary cities because we know they're releasing public safety threats and national security threats back to the street. So we know we got a problem there. So we don't have that problem in Florida where most sheriffs work for us. So we're going to double up and triple up on New York. And not only are we going to send more agents to the neighborhood, we're going to increase worksite enforcement tenfold. If we can't arrest them in the jail, you're going to force them in the neighborhood, then we'll find them in the neighborhood. If we can't find them in the neighborhood, we'll find them at the worksite. So game on. We're coming.